Five with Phil is brought to you by Coors Light, Mountain Cold.
Hey, Phil. We're in 3 consecutive weeks, and this is the first time we've ever gotten 3 consecutive weeks since we started doing the Taking Five with Phil. So,
We got about 14 more to go. So,
no, we got at least 17
hopefully
or
more than
18,
that.
Phil. Hopefully more than 14. Thanks for joining us, everybody, on Taking Five with Phil. We're going to jump right in today. Phil, we got some fun ones, some ones that are going to be great for clips. We're going to start out with the first question of Taking Five with Phil. Surprises in camp. I heard a name, I think, in maybe Freeman's presser earlier this week. It's a former, or I don't know if he's still playing lacrosse, but Matt Jeffrey. I had never even heard of this kid before, but apparently he's doing great things.
Jesse, Matt Jeffrey played in all 12 games last year.
I didn't.
Special teams. Mostly special teams. He did have I think I'm not sure he had multiple catches, but I do know he had one catch against Arkansas for 37 yards.
Was he rocking number 33 last year?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think maybe that's why it might be throwing me off, because I didn't remember 33.
But no, Matt Jeffrey, a superb athlete. He comes from the same Jordan Faison type deal he's an All-American lacrosse player, a tremendous athlete in high school. He's played like 5 sports in high school. He played football, basketball, baseball, lacrosse, of course, golf, hockey. I mean, he's played them all. He's 5'11", 210, something like that. So okay size, great size for out of the slot if you think about it. And he's an explosive player. He was he was an outstanding football player in high school, but he was recruited as a lacrosse player. But yeah, is he going to catch 30 passes this year? I doubt it, but he may catch 10 or 12 or 15, and I think he'll be a special team stalwart.
He seemed like the flavor of the week in the pressers this week, because I hadn't really looked into him much at all, but his name came up. Are there any other guys kind of in that mold of name rising that may have just been special teams guys that we're probably going to hear from this year?
Well, not exactly that, but the biggest riser in this camp has to be Armel Mukum, the defensive tackle. And we talked to Jalen Sneed this week. I don't know, when was that? 5 days ago, something like that. Anyway, and we were asking him about different players, including Armel Mukum, defensive tackle, who has been an afterthought for 3 years at Notre Dame. And Sneed said it's like something happened to him, and this year he has flipped a switch. Well, he came out in the first practice with the number 1 group at defensive tackle. And he has pretty much maintained that presence in the top 1 or 2, and those guys rotate anyway. He's going to play really good. Another benefit perhaps for the new defensive line coach that the Irish brought in this year in Charlie Partridge.
Well, that's after what happened with the portal earlier this week with the 5-year 5 guys. It's good to have another D lineman, stepping up and filling like that 1 or 2 role. Speaking of the
market, well, I know where you're going to go, but Marcus Freeman said in his press conference the other day, he said he was asked what the deepest playing groups are on his team, and the first words out of his mouth were defensive line. So there you go.
I couldn't really hear everything he said on YouTube because the playback is so quiet, and I was on my laptop and the speakers aren't that great. So I didn't catch that part. But the 5 and 5, I don't know how I feel about it. I'm kind of up in the air on the 5 and 5. It just seems like a money grab for everybody involved. Am I wrong?
I don't know. Money grab? I don't know. I think it puts some sane guardrails on the whole free agency thing. And it was always just a total shell game that was being played in this well, we'll play this guy for four games, and then we'll move on to the next guy. It's just like, just give them 5 years, and that puts a cap on their career. You're not going to have any more, except in very rare situations. You're not going to have any more 6-year players, 7-year players. That's just not going to happen. You got 5 years, but you could play all 5 years. I mean, think about it. If a team that goes to the net, that in college, if you played every conceivable game every year, what is that? 16 games times 5. What is that? That's 80 games that you could conceivably play in a college career. Sure. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And what's going to happen is good players are going to play right away, and they're going to, there's no reason to hold them back. Great players are always going to play, but the good players are the ones that, that are there, where they had to make decisions about after 4 games, whether they were going to preserve a red shirt. Those guys will continue to contribute. I think you'll have quicker development of players. I think it's a good thing overall.
I think also, I didn't really I thought about the question, but I didn't think too much. There's always been a premium on 5th-year seniors for your program to have in that age, even though they were redshirted like that first year, or if they were injured or something. But also the guys that are getting paid the premium NIL money, especially if it's like sophomore, junior year, they're not likely to stay all 5 years anyways, if they're that good where they're getting paid premium NIL money.
Yeah, if you've got a really good running back or a really good quarterback, you better hope that they're gone after 3 years. Think about it, because that means that they were NFL caliber and they won you a lot of football games. But the 5-year players, that's kind of the foundation of any team. They're not the greatest players, but they're generally really good players if they stick around that long and are contributing. So I kind of like the 5-5. It makes it easier on guys like us to keep track of rosters too. I mean, all this stuff about second year redshirt sophomore and all this, and 5th year. This nomenclature. I mean, I still go back to the days of freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, and that was it. So anyway, I kind of like it.
Can you imagine a world where Notre Dame forks out or finds a way to get CJ Carr $10 million a year for NIL money, and he's a 5th-year senior and Notre Dame's still playing quarterback?
Yeah, actually, not exactly that scenario. I don't think that's going to happen, and I know you don't either. But certainly, it becomes more and more of a decision, and we have seen players stay on a national basis who could have probably have gone to the NFL, but said, "Well, I think I'll take my chances with the guaranteed $2 million I can make at wherever, Oregon or wherever." So.
And try to raise my draft stock in the meantime. But you run the risk also of injury that could be a setback as well. That's definitely a hard decision. What's cool is guys finishing college degrees. That is the one aspect of it that would be nice, at least at the schools that make you go to class.
Well, in 5 years at Notre Dame, you're going to finish your degree, if not twice, with an extra degree.
Well, finishing your degree is cool, Phil. You know what else is cool? It's very cool. I know what else is
cool.
Coors Light's cool. Proud partner of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Notre Dame, whether you're enjoying a cold one in South Bend while tailgating with thousands of other fans, or if you're sitting on your couch at home watching the game, Coors Light, mountains turn blue, your beer's as cold as the Rockies. Coors Brewing Company, Gold, Colorado. There's your plug. There's your Coors Light.
Mountain cold for the Fighting Irish, Coors Light.
Mountain cold for the Fighting Irish, Coors Light. Thanks, Coors Light. We appreciate you. All right. Topic number 3. What non-home games are you actually going to go to this year, Phil? Or are you going to all of them since you are retired from the day job?
Well, right. I'm only working one full-time job now. Nothing's ever for certain in this game. And so I'm going to kind of back away and not give you a firm answer, but I'll tell you this. There's certain Fighting Irish Preview is going to cover every game, and we'll have people at every single game, whether I'm there myself. That's to be determined as the season rolls on, but I'll definitely be at Lambeau, and I'll definitely be at Purdue. That's a fairly easy trip for me. And I'm taking a look at, Provo may or may not work out for me.
Oh,
But
Utah is just a beautiful visit, anyways.
oh, I
It's worth the
know
trip.
that'd be one I want to see. But uh, uh, family, wife schedule things may prevent me from taking a long three days out to Provo. But anyway, we will Fighting Irish Preview will always have coverage of every game, complete coverage, and we will have the photographers there. We'll have best reporting on every game, home and away, every
Well, I just
week.
want
And
to, I
yeah,
want to, I want to keep people informed so that way, if they're going to be at a game that you're at, maybe we can set up maybe like a meet and greet or a hello thing or a time where you're going to be leaving, coming or going, where fans can say hi to Phil Houck. I haven't
hey,
met you yet. I don't know
I'll
you.
tell you, I get it. I get it mostly at the home games, of course. But I love the shout outs and the photographs that I get sent to me by fans who are up in the stands who see me down on the field. We're, as I've said before, I think on this pod, that we get access to the field for the last 5 minutes of the game. So the media, we make our trek from the press box down onto the field. They corral us down on the one end zone, and I've had multiple fans or followers of us send me photos of me down on the field, and that's kind of cool. And I've even a few of them that have my phone number will text me, and I'll find them up in the stands and give them a shout out. And uh,
Can't miss that flowing silvery hair. If there's a nice breeze on the field, catching that
yeah,
and waving it around.
yeah, the old guy that is still able to walk without a cane. So, so
You're
it's
not
all
that.
good.
There's plenty of guys your age that aren't walking with a cane. You're not that old, Phil.
Well,
You're
that's
not
true.
that old.
That's true. And I feel
Okay.
great.
Well, we'll keep everybody abreast of what games you're going to be at. That way they can come stalk you and say hello. Okay. Topic 4 is going to be a new topic that we're going to do weekly. We are going to be picking, well, we're going to be going starting in the 60s, decades at a time, and you're picking most memorable or forgettable games of that and forgettable games of that decade. And we're going to start with the 1990s
Jesse,
this go
can I
round.
call an audible? Can I call an audible?
Sure.
I'm ready. I'm ready to go with the 60s, just because to me it's such a stark although I don't have to be prepared for that one. Let's go with the 60s right off. It makes
Okay.
sense.
Yep. But this is going to be something we're doing weekly till we get all caught up today. And then we're going to fill it out with something else. But
Sounds good.
Phil's
Let's go.
Phil's best and worst of the decade, the 1960s. Here we go.
Well, the best has to be, and I do have some memories of this game, so that makes it count. And that's, of course, the 1966 game, the tie game against Michigan State. Uh, I just saw it, and of course, and Notre Dame ends up winning the national title because they were the number one team ranked, and ranked team. MSU was number two. Notre Dame pulled out the tie at MSU. So the pollsters kept Notre Dame at number one. That's a very memorable game. People are still talking about it. Ara Parsegian still gets a raw deal that he played for a tie. Well, at the end of that game, I just saw something about this. In fact, there was a friend of mine who's connected to the Parsegian family was defending Ara again, saying that something like in the last 10 plays that Ara ran in that game in the fourth quarter when it was 10-10, 8 of them were pass plays or were wide runs, as they called them in the days, around the end. They weren't just up the gut trying to run the clock out type of thing. So Ara did the very wise thing. He was dealing with a lot of injuries in that game. Very memorable game. One of my first memories of Notre Dame football. I know that my mom and dad were there, and I was 5 years old, but we watched it on TV with the babysitter. So
You have an article about that kind of lists that game, including Era, don't you? Somewhere on the site.
I've written extensively on Era. Definitely one of my favorites from Notre Dame history, kind of where I cut my teeth with Notre Dame football, was happening to just live in Era's neighborhood growing up. But Era was also connected to the worst game of the 60s. And this wasn't because Notre Dame played all that bad. it would be the 1964 game, Notre Dame. And I don't really remember this, but I do remember my dad complaining about it because Notre Dame lost game 10. That was Era's first season in 64. And they lost game 10 at USC. And that cost, and they lost by what was to this day is known as the phantom holding call, or else Notre Dame would have won that game as well and won the national title in Era's first year. And no one to this date has still been able to figure out where that holding took place on that play. But it cost Notre Dame the game, cost Notre Dame the national championship, and it caused people to this day to look at USC just a little bit differently. So that's got to be the worst game, the toughest game of the 60s. Can you imagine Era Parsegian if he had won that game in 64 after Notre Dame had two consecutive losing seasons, and worse than that, they've been a down program since Terry Brennan had some decent years, but they were bad for a while. And in his first season, turning it completely around and winning a national title. Well, they ended up 9-1, which was pretty good. Boy, would a national championship have looked good in 64. And that's the best and the worst of the 60s.
The best and the worst of the 60s. I only know the Michigan State game through authors like you, but it reminds me, doesn't Lou Holtz have a game kind of like that with Penn State on his resume that ended in a tie? Was that Holtz in 86?
No, not in 86.
Or 90.
No.
It was
he had maybe he had a tie.
I remember it being a snowy game, but I'm probably wrong.
We'll look that one up. We'll report back on the next one.
All right. Topic 5. We are doing a little switcheroo on topic 5 just because you need some time to look over your conferences and find your sleeper teams that fit within the parameters that I gave you. But we're going to talk about this coming year, the all-time Irish heroes, which are probably my favorite articles that you do on the website. Who do we have planned for this year?
Well, Jesse, thank you for that. And it's been just a real pleasure to write that series over the years. And I've written, I don't know, over 100 feature articles on great players from Notre Dame history, mostly from the period of time in which I've covered Notre Dame football or I've been watching. But we've also covered players going back to my favorite of all time, George Gipp. And other great players, Heisman Trophy winners, and of course there were a boatload of those back in the 40s and 50s.
Newt Rockne, of course.
Newt's on there. We've covered the great head coaches as well in that series. A lot of them are up there on the website. A lot of them I wrote before we even had such a thing as website, but I've got copies of them somewhere. But you can find a lot of those linked. Just go to our website, fightingirishpreview.com, and just hit all-time Irish hero, and then you'll see the whole series one after another will come up. There's probably 50 or 60 at least up on the website. But last year we had started a series. Here's what we're going to do this year. Last year we had started a series on the great running backs since I think the parameter was the great running backs since of the Brian Kelly era, something like that. So since 2010. And that took us through quite a bit of the season. And we had enough that were going to take us through what we thought would be an elongated season, but we never finished the series because the season, as we know, was cut a little bit short. So we're going to continue with that series this year, the great running backs, and we still got 4 or 5 more to talk about. But for the first game, I'm just going to tease the first game. We're not going to talk about a running back, but we are going to talk about somebody, since the expectations are so high at Notre Dame this year. We'll have a special all-time Irish hero for that for the first game, the Wisconsin game, coming up in, it's 2 weeks from tomorrow or 2 weeks from today as we record. that we'll talk about for the first game. So we usually go with a
Is the
series
player or
each season.
coach?
That would give it away. And
That would give it away.
By me saying that almost gives it away. So anyway, you'll just have to tune in and find out. But you'll enjoy it. It's very appropriate.
I mean, I can just go on the website, look at the drafts, and see what's in there. But
there you go.
but I don't want to cheat. I was going to make a guess since high expectations. I don't know what the expectations were like in '88. I was just going to guess Tim Brown, but that's probably wrong.
We've certainly featured Tim Brown before, but
okay.
But he didn't. He was gone in '88.
Oh, that's right. It was Rocket in '88. Tim Brown was '86.
Well, '87 he won the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah. Rocket was '88. 87, 88. You know, they need to really just fix that. The whole 87, 88 or 80, like the years that lapsed. It drives me crazy.
It's tough on journalists. Yeah, you're learning. You now are finally. It took me about 20 years to figure that out. That's hard to do. When you're talking about, well, is it the 2010 Rose Bowl, or is it the 2010 Rose Bowl played on January 1st, 2011? So I don't know. But,
right. Is it the Rose Bowl from the 2010 season, or is it the 2011 Rose Bowl by itself?
The way I've been doing it a lot is it's the playoffs following the 2016 season or something like that.
Sure.
That's one way that kind of describes it.
Well, Phil, it was a fun one today. It's quick, fun. Got some topics coming up. We got a game coming up here in 2 weeks. So next week's going to be all about Wisconsin.
Yeah,
and maybe some Lambeau questions.
Yeah, let's go. We'll start going there. It's time to turn our full attention towards the actual season. Silly season's over. It's time to put our game faces on. Let's go.
All right. Well, again, our proud sponsor, Coors Light, Mountain Cold for Fighting Irish fans. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Jesse.